Good afternoon, everyone. It is part 2 of the Tercel rescue with the 86 DLX automatic Tercel. So, made it back down here to Southern Ohio today with a battery and an alternator, the correct one this time. So, we left Luke's this morning about 5:30 in the morning and started driving on down here. Unfortunately, we lost the fuel pump in Spud on the way down here. Simple, just wiring fix. So got that done. Had an extra fuel pump with us, so we just wired it under the hood temporarily so we can make it home today. Going to work on the car here, get the alternator changed out, pull it out of behind its home here behind the shed, and start working on the front brakes. And we'll take you guys along for the ride. Alrighty, well, Luke is over there putting the alternator in the car. I am attempting to get the license plate off because we learned in the last adventure with getting Thunder Bucket that the police will give you a headache if you have a plate on the car that expired. If you're driving without a plate, they don't really care. So, trying to get that off. I'm gonna grab something else to try to rip that off of there without damaging the frame. Luke's got the new used alternator on there. I should switch sides so you can see him a little better. Just getting that tightened down. Got the battery in there. That's actually the battery out of Spud. We switched Thunder Bucket's battery into Spud. And gonna fire this thing up here momentarily. Pull it around front, around this corner, and start doing some front brakes. You're great. Over here. So Luke got the car out here, as he just saw. Literally just dumped some gas in the carburetor. She fired it up. Surprisingly, the reverse light works. Still couldn't get the license plate off, so I found this vent. Looks like it's for a house or something. Let's see if we can wedge that in this deal here. There we go. Success. It worked.
Yay!
Now we can drive around with the vent for a license plate and get rid of that. So we're gonna jack the front end of this thing up and start working on some brakes. All right, well, this time we were smart, brought the impact, so going up.
Yeah?
Yep, if I was smart, I would keep the thing in there. You can have the cardboard, Luke.
Thank you. Uh-oh. Okay. That was great.
Don't worry, we have a spare battery. Just don't have the charger.
Yeah, we don't need it. All right. Go ahead and let's put some brake fluid in it and pump it. I want to see where it actually blew.
So we're letting the car air out a little bit. It stinks really bad in here. Smells like you'd expect the car to smell you know, being abandoned for 13 years or so, we unfortunately left our spare fuel pump on the ground and just found it. So I'm gonna plug it into the battery and see if it still functions after a month in the snow and cold temperatures. Hopefully it does. While Luke works on the brakes, I'm gonna try to see if I can figure out this ground strap problem. It's pretty loose here, and we brought an extra one with us, but a lot of the bolts are rusted and we just don't want to break them off. So let's see if this Mountain Dew can here, thrashed apple. Sounds tasty. Will help us out. See if I can pop this little tab off here, you know, and stick it in there. Ooh, that might work. I'll get a hammer, bash that on there. Be right back. Well, good news. I hit it with my purse and wedged that on there, and look at that. Good as new. I should be an engineer for, you know, Toyota. So hey, Toyota, if you're watching this, I can fix these battery things with a Mountain Dew can and this hammer. Even though the head keeps popping off the hammer. So Luke is flaring lines right now. Good thing I'm not doing that because I would screw that up every time. Gonna get this line done, try to bleed or replace that side, and then we're gonna bleed it out and see what happens. All right, good news. Got the brake bled out on the passenger side, just cleaning everything up. The owners actually showed up, and we're gonna head over to their house to look at possibly another car. So, just cleaning up and should be good to go shortly. All right, we're trying to clean everything up and got the tire back on. Got one wiper blade on, put the other one on. Got fuel line run under the hood to the carburetor, up the sill to a couple gas cans. Don't worry, they're ratchet strapped down. We should be all set. We saw the Saratoga team do this on the Lemons rally, so should be all good. Gonna head down to the owner's house and talk to him for a little bit and hit the road. What a sight to behold this is. 2 5-gallon cans strapped to the roof after sitting 13 years. Granted, we're only doing a little 5-mile test drive, but it's moving. Well, we're at our first fuel stop. Gone about 102 miles according to the odometer. We're in a town called New Knoxville, Ohio. Just filling up. Getting about 25 miles to the gallon roughly, if my math is right, because we only use about 4 gallons out of this one tank. So yeah, I'm gonna go inside, get something to drink, and keep on keeping on. All right, fuel stop number 2. We are north of Fort Wayne, Indiana, about 20 minutes or so. About an hour and a half, 2 hours drive from home. Filling up, did about another 100 miles in Spud and the Mossy Oak Edition. Don't have a name for it yet. But just gonna check all the fluids up, grab something to snack on, drink here at the gas station, and keep on our way. Cars are doing car things, and I think Luke's a little cold. I'm not sure if the heat's working in this car or not. I've been driving with the window down to stay awake, so we've been on the road since 5:30 this morning, and it's about almost 9 p.m. now, so should be another hour and a half. I'm gonna go help Luke here with the fuel jugs on the roof. Well, we're almost back in our home state. Just another few 100 feet. Here, Michigan. Got about an hour and 45 minutes from this point. Normally driving to get home. obviously next morning, for one, and two, on our way to the auto parts store. Tried to shoot a quick video last night when we got back, but it was so dark. It was about almost midnight, so we were on the road for about 18 hours yesterday. Getting the car and having a bunch of just little things going on. One of the things that we didn't catch on film was we were just south of Dayton, Ohio, and Spud, Luke's car, the one that we use for all these rescues, started running really rough, so we pulled off and put fuel in it. Checked everything out. We only had put 2 gallons in the tank, so we weren't low. And got back on the highway about 3 miles later. Just shut off. No power, nothing. Revved it up. Couldn't get it to rev. We had battery power. So got underneath the car on the side of the highway. And the fuel pump wasn't working. Come to find out, the wiring underneath the car that Luke did years ago was finally just corroded out from our wonderful Michigan winters and salt. So we tried to hook in the new fuel pump and it just wouldn't work. So we ended up wiring the fuel pump in under the hood. Unfortunately, that caused a lot of heat soaking issues. And we left the old fuel pump in line in the back by the tank just to make the ease of everything. Got to the car, got working on it, went to the owner's house and checked out another vehicle. Went and filled up with gas, and Spud died pulling out of the parking lot. Come to find out, the fuel pump that was under the car was actually also faulty, and the check valve or something in it went bad, and weren't getting any fuel. Ended up having to hook in a fuel filter in the back by the tank, in line, and had fuel. We were able to drive it all the way home last night without issue. So gonna run in, get some new wiring, some connectors, and wire this thing in and have it all set to go for the next few years. Part of the reason we did have an issue was 2 years ago we were off-roading, ripped the wiring out and temporarily patched it, and patched it again last year when it failed once again just driving down the road. Honestly, can't blame Spud for any of these problems. Just kind of laziness on our part, not fixing it correctly. But once we get all these parts, I'll show you what we're dealing with and show you how we fix it. Auto parts store run was a success. Found everything we need to get the electrical portion of Spud's fuel pump fixed. Also, found a present for Luke. Not a ridiculous present, like Top Gear or something, but something that we can definitely use since we did sort of damage it yesterday. I'm going to show it to him here pretty soon when I get to his house. Should be there in a couple minutes. Let's see what he says. Well, Luke's got the garage kind of cleaned out-ish. So, remember yesterday when we were doing brakes, we damaged the brake flare tool?
Yeah.
And you said you wanted to find one that had the socket end on it.
Yeah. Did you find one?
I did.
No way! Oh! How?
Lifetime warranty, too.
Really?
Yep. Got it from work.
Dude, thank you. How much was it?
All right, so if you can see right here, we got the positive and negative wiring and a loom going to the front of Spud. Luke actually upgraded this car to a Weber carburetor after the factory carburetor started giving a lot of issues. They're pretty hard to tune if you don't know what you're doing, and we're going to start learning how to do that to keep a lot of these cars with the stock carburetors, because they do run quite well and start very nicely in the winter. But we had to take the fuel pump that was in line here with these lines up in here. Sorry, there's a cross member in the way. Get this camera up under here, and we had to hook in this filter in line to eliminate that pump that was not working correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pump that's underneath the hood. I'll show you here in a second. We're going to put it back in here and run new power wires down the whole length of the car and get everything all sealed up. All right, as you can see, it's got the Weber carburetor on there, and We had to wire the fuel pump in really quick yesterday to get us off the side of the road. And unfortunately, with it being so close to the exhaust and everything right here, it gets a lot of heat sinking, and it vaporizes the fuel in the pump, which makes it, you know, starve for fuel or also less efficient. And that's why mounting the fuel pump under the car back by the tank is the best idea. Normally these cars have a vacuum driven fuel pump right there that runs off the camshaft, but like I said, we eliminated the factory carburetor and put this Weber on because we were having a lot of problems with the factory unit. Here's a factory carburetor, and crazy enough, there's about 14 feet of vacuum lines that runs the emission system. So I'll disconnect everything here. We'll put some new ends on the fuel pump, put it back under the car, and run some new lines. Alrighty, I got the new fuel pump and filter located up top nicely. Got some good heat shrinks on there. And we ran the line in this loom right here. Get my hand in front of the camera for you so you can't see what I'm doing. All the way down the length of the car. We are going to try to find something secured up a little bit better right here out of the way. Because it's just the one low point that I don't like, but that's how Luke had it initially. It goes down in the front. It comes up firewall nicely. Got the ground bearing the firewall and power on a keyed. Hot right down here with an inline fuse just in case something happens. And now it runs all nice and good. Unfortunately, Spud did suffer a slight injury on the trip, so we're gonna get this fixed here pretty soon. Something got kicked up by a semi-truck and punctured a hole in the floor. Also bent the rocker panel and actually bent the transmission mount. So this will be a project for another day. Should be able to cut that section out and put some flat stock in there or sheet metal, weld it up, seal it up, be good for another 35 years.